John.
Hey Lex, how you doing, man?
Awesome. Thanks for giving us the time and welcome to 5 Minute Sales Wisdom.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be here.
Awesome. John, the one question that bothers most of the salespeople always is the prospects asking, how are you better off your competition, right? So, how do you answer that without degrading your competitor and without overselling your product?
Yeah, this one's a tough one, right? Because if you go right into, hey, no, we're better, we're the leading provider of, or any of that stuff, first of all, they're not going to believe you, and you come off as very defensive. The answer is always it depends, and it depends on what the client's looking for. So hopefully you've gotten that question after you've done some qualification, so it's not just right off a cold call. Okay, fine, tell me how much you're better, because that I think that's almost impossible, unless you know your competition really really well. But if you've done the right discovery, I wrote a blog post a little while ago called "Sell to the 20%," which is my fundamental belief that if you pick any product or service you own, I almost guarantee you only use 10 to 20% of the functionality of whatever that product or service is, right? I mean, your clothes, your car, your iPhone, you name it, you only use about this much of the functionality. So because that's how I believe that, people use products, I also believe that's how people buy products. And so they only buy the 20% that is most relevant to their objectives, to their needs, to their priorities. And so that's what I think differentiates us is if we can figure out what that 20% is and then align what our solution is to it, we have a chance at articulating why we're different in that area, right? Why we're better in the most important area. Now, the other thing that you can do here in this is you never want to talk trash about your competition. But what you want to do is you want to highlight what the competition's really good at, knowing that you're good at a different area that is really more in line with what the customer needs. And I actually use Gong. They did a really good blog post on this one where they used an example of back in the 80s when McDonald's, right? McDonald's and Burger King.
Yeah.
So McDonald's was at the time massively popular, right? And Burger King was a far, far second. So Burger King coming back and saying, "Hey, we're better food," and Charles that type of stuff. They weren't going to make up the difference there, right? Because it wasn't going to be, "Hey, we're better." What they did was at the time, McDonald's was very focused on children, so kids, right? They had Ronald McDonald, they had the toy, places where kids would go and play in the ball pits and stuff like that. So what Burger King did was they highlighted McDonald's strengths. They said, "Oh, look at, hey, if you want a kid's meal and a great time for a kid, then you should go to McDonald's, basically. But if you want a grown-up's meal, you should come to Burger King."
Oh,
And what they did was they not only appealed to the grown-ups, but they also appealed to the kids that wanted to be grown-ups.
yeah.
And that's where Burger King came pretty close up to them, right? So I do that a lot of time for my training, right? I understand my competition and I know where their strengths and weaknesses are. So when somebody comes and tells me, "Oh, we're looking at said, vendor, whatever," I'll be like, "Oh, great. I was a huge fan of this, and this of theirs. Help me understand. You had said your priorities were X, so help me understand how they're addressing that," which is where I know I'm strong at.
Mhm.
So I think if you compliment them and tell them, "Hey, this is where they're great, but this is where we're great," that's where you can get away with kind of evening the scales of talking competition.
Awesome. This is super helpful. So the conclusion is appreciate the strengths of your competition, but try to understand needs of your prospect and align your product in a better way for those needs of your prospects.
Yeah, to the 20%, to that 20%, because that's what's going to be remembered. If you tell everything, if you say you're great at everything, first of all, it's unbelievable. Nobody believes that you're great at everything. And also, it all falls flat. It's all average. But if you focus and you highlight what's based on the clients, you have a chance.